If anyone was still wondering whether Australian authorities act in the interests of ordinary Australians, have a look at these contrasting images. I took this photo on November 27, 2021, when I joined tens of thousands of ordinary people marching for freedom from the tyrannical COVID lockdowns and against the newly introduced vaccine mandates. This was the second major protest march in Sydney, and the cops looked eager to pounce on anyone who approached. But that's not why we were marching. We didn't want to intimidate anyone. We just wanted our freedom back. The first protest 4 months earlier was not so peaceful. I saw about a dozen arrests, most of them unprovoked. I asked one of the cops after this arrest was made what the bloke had done, and was told he threatened the police. The look I got from the cop implied that if I asked any more questions, I'd be next. And here are members of the same police force on Monday night idly watching as young men walk off to join an illegal protest that chanted for genocide. And again, here they are standing idly by as flares are thrown on the steps of our beloved Sydney Opera House. But never mind the coppers on the street. What about the morality police at the Australian Human Rights Commission? Here is the then AHRC President Emeritus Professor Gillian Triggs in 2016 coming down hard on cartoonist Bill Leak for a cartoon that depicted 3 Aboriginal people, one of who was not of good character. She said, quote, "A significant number of people would agree that the cartoon by Mr. Leak was a racial stereotype of Aboriginal Australians and an opinion that our society shouldn't endorse racial stereotyping of Aboriginal Australians or any other racial or ethnic group." Unquote. Remember that last phrase, any racial or ethnic group. Triggs's offsider, Tim Supomasani, actually solicited complaints from the public about the cartoon. Although he received a paltry 3 complaints, he was able to then throw the weight of the AHRC into an investigation into Leak, which required enormous legal expense from Leak's employer, News Corp, and adding enormous stress to Leak's well-being. Leak died of a heart attack a few months later. The law Leak was alleged to have broken was Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act, which prohibits offending, insulting, humiliating or intimidating anyone based on their race, colour or ethnicity. Okay, well, let's put on our detective hats, shall we, and see if anyone broke that very same law on Monday night. Charming. Well, by now you might be thinking that the only law that Bill Leak broke was being a conservative white man. And you'd be right. Such is life in 21st century Australia. And here's another crime being committed on the streets of Sydney just yesterday.
Put it back in your car. No, put it back in your car. I swear to God, about f***ing seals with that flag of f***ing cruiser. Tell you right now.
Threatening to kill someone, eh? But what are the odds of the cops tracking this bloke down and arresting him? I'd say the odds are Buckley's and none.